Welcome everybody to BC Speak Up, our very own college podcast. My name is Elia Mizrahi. I'm your club director of Brooklyn College and your host. The purpose of the podcast is to spotlight different clubs we have on campus, and of course to get to know our student leaders much better. In our previous episode, we spoke about mental health in a COVID-19 world with Kimura McGregor from the Psychology Club. So if you have yet to check it out, please do. It's such an incredible episode with so much good things to learn about. Today, I'm grateful and excited to speak about the world of finance with our personal finance club. For this episode, I have two incredible guests, Caroline Gonzalez and Francesco Amaranti. Caroline is the president of the Personal Finance Club at Brooklyn College. Her purpose for creating the club lies with her desire to promote financial literacy in the Brooklyn College community. Caroline will be graduating at the end of the semester with an accounting degree. Her hobbies include reading up on financial independence and spending time with loved ones. Francesco is the treasurer of the Personal Finance Club at Brooklyn College and will also be graduating this fall with an accounting degree. Francesco used to work at Italy, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is a high-end restaurant market, however, is now furloughed. So if you guys want to check out an amazing restaurant, you know who to talk with. His hobbies include reading personal growth and financial literacy books, running for a Nike run club, and working out at the gym. So first of all, guys, I really want to express how grateful I am for you guys being here. It's really a pleasure being with you today.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
So first of all, for what it seems, most of you guys are like, this is your last semester in college. You guys are excited for what's next to come in your chapter in life?
Yes, definitely.
You have anything in mind?
Well, I'm working right now towards studying for the CPA.
Wow, that's incredible. What about you, Francesco?
Same here. I'm actually looking forward to that. I can't wait to get my studying materials and just get to it.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, having everything set up in a way that like how you want to create your own future, which I personally love it. I also love anything that's related to finance. It's something that I dabble with myself. So like, how long have you guys been also part of the Personal Finance Club?
So I started this back in January of 2020. So it's about 8 months for me, like 8-9 months around there.
Wow, and how has it been so far?
It's been great. I mean, especially like the first semester, there were a few challenges in terms of just the paperwork, but and so like then we had our first meeting. Unfortunately, things kind of like progress kind of halted because of COVID.
Yeah.
Things all went online, so that kind of slowed the club down. But I'm ready for us to kick back to steam, right? Like in the next coming months.
That's incredible. And do you guys like have a set plan for it, like moving forward, or is it day by day right now because of all the uncertainty that we still have?
It was day at first, but I am looking to contact the recruiters that I know and see if I can host some events with them. Some accounting recruiters mostly.
Wow, I love hearing that. That's such an important thing, going in with a plan, knowing what you want to do. That's incredible. And do you have like some events, your club has been planning to have this semester, events you already had?
So, one event that I actually really enjoyed hosting last semester was about like credit and like credit card knowledge and just like regular credit use. So I wouldn't mind hosting something similar to that and also having a recruiter maybe talk about that as well if he or she is well versed in that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so let's say if you had some key tips for people who want to begin having their finances in order, quote unquote. I'm pretty sure having a good credit score is the beginning of it. But what else? Like, what do you suggest?
I would say in general, starting to create a budget so that you're not just like like just spending your money as it comes in, but actually having a budget in place.
So can you give us like an example, like how to build I feel like a lot of people feel like they have a budget, but they aren't really budgeting. Does that make sense? What I mean?
In terms of like people believe that they have a budget, but they're not exactly sure where all their money is going to.
Yeah, because I feel that sometimes that like there's a more efficient way to know how to budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like what are your suggestions when you want to build a budget? Like what should we consider? How should we divide like each percent?
Well, what I like to do is actually use, so there are quite a few like budgeting apps.
Yes.
One of the most popular ones is Mint, actually.
Oh, okay.
And
I have that one.
yeah, yeah, it's a great app. And like the purpose of that, and I think the benefit is that like you'll know exactly where all your money is going to. Like if you're very diligent, like you'll know exactly where it's all going to at the end of the month. So that can always help you cut out expenses that are unnecessary and not really aiding in your financial goals.
And is it complicated, opening a Mint account? Like is it something that takes a while, or it's something, you just sign up, put in your information and you have it all set?
Yeah, it's a pretty simple process. I mean, like besides that, something that I used to do also was use Excel spreadsheets, and that you can customize to however you like it,
Oh,
depending on
wow.
like how many expenses you have, and like if
Wow.
you have any big purchases, you can enter it in, like make your own Excel spreadsheet. That's something I used to do also.
Oh, wow. So you've already been a while like doing budgeting. It seems like.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. It's so vital, especially today, in COVID-19 where, you know, unfortunately, money is scarce. Some people are still not working. And, having that right mindset and, the right correct way to know how to budget is super, super important. So this is actually something we touched on before a bit, and we didn't really get into it, and that's about credit and credit score. So a lot of people today that want, let's say they want to begin, like we don't understand how to get a good credit score and what it means and what it takes in order to keep that good credit score. So like what are your practical tips that we can in order to improve that?
So, so one of my tips would be to actually pay off your credit card in full every month, because there is a myth that some people think that you have to buy something expensive and then pay it off throughout months, like with interest. That's actually not true. You could pay your credit card off in full at the end of the month and not have to pay any interest, and still build strong credit. So definitely pay it off. So you don't have to spend more money than you need to, honestly. And in order to maintain it, uh, definitely keep on paying off monthly. Also, try to open up a few other types of accounts. Like it could be like a car loan, or it could be like more credit cards, because it helps to like diversify. And also try to keep your utilization below 10%. If you keep it below 10% of your total, like your total credit amount, that'll also help keep your credit score pretty high as well.
That's incredible. Personally, some of those tips I actually know it's something that I also know. I also like assume them in my personal life, and it's really, really important because some of our fellow students, even friends outside of college, when I ask them about questions about the credit card, they do not know as much. So please, guys, whoever has yet to open a credit card, please do. It's really smart and good to have an early start and actually understanding these terms. And speaking about terms also, why is it so important for us to understand financial literacy, like regardless of your major area of interest?
So I would say it's important because you have to understand how to use like financial tools in order to aid in your goals. Like it's really just about um, reaching what all of your goals are. And we're all going to, so like when we all graduate from college and we start getting our full-time paychecks, um, we have to understand how to use those tools, like to maybe like if we want to buy a house in the future, or if we just want to have money to travel, or if we want to retire early. All of those like mean that we have to understand how to use financial tools in order to achieve those goals, whether it's through saving, through investing, like passive income, um, And also, I think COVID-19 really brings up um, the part of like life is very uncertain.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
definitely.
you could have a job now, but you may not have a job later. So it's really good to have kind of like a cushion or a safety net there,
Yeah,
just in case something were to happen.
I think COVID-19 has is going to make this decade a decade of frugality. A lot of people are not gonna spend as much. I think this uncertainty and the unknown and fear is gonna last for a very long time. So I think people are gonna be more aware and trying to see where their finances are and trying to get improve in that after this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely agree with that. And like also something you actually said it, one of the few important financial literacies, and I think this is a word that many of us know, but not a lot of us actually deeply and truly like comprehend it, and that's like the word investing and knowing how to invest. So let's say, for example, I'm a complete beginner who wants to begin to invest. Like, what would you like? What kind of books would you suggest for me to in order to start, in order to read and actually understand?
So there are hundreds of books out there about finance and investing. I From the books that I've read that have helped me, I've read I can recommend about a good three of them. So, for example, the little book of Value Investing by Christopher Brown is one of my favorites. He goes into details. He talks about how to find undervalued companies in the stock market and also not to invest with your emotions. For example, what he means by that is, let's say you find this company that's $40 today, and then you find that company tomorrow for $35. You think the company is going down, so you're not going to invest. So he uses that example is that you go to a supermarket, you find a steak that's $15, your favorite steak, it's a really good steak, and then the next day you go to the same supermarket and you find that steak for $10. You're going to buy the steak for $10 because you already know what the quality of meat you're getting. It's the same thing in the stock market. You buy companies when they're in the red, when they're undervalued. Also, he comes up with his own ratios and whatnot to find these undervalued companies, to help you find these undervalued companies. And another book that I would recommend is Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Philip Fisher. In this book, he goes into details about what he looks for when he's investing. He looks into this what the CEO is planning, how much the company is investing in their research and development compared to their size to see if they're expanding, what their latest technology is, what their products are. He even goes as far as if you're able to live in a city where the company is located, like their headquarters is located, just paying them a visit and talking to the employees. If the employees are happy, that means it's a good company. A lot of, especially if the employees are happy, they're eager to help the company grow and sell and keep retaining client business. And he also goes into details about also emotions as well, not to let your emotions take control of your investing in the stock market. And my last book that I would recommend is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. It is considered the holy Bible for investing in the stock market. It is a very hard book to understand, but he does goes into details about the different types of investors, what they do, what they look for, and to see if you're either in one of those categories. And he also goes into some ratios and some and what he looks for when he's finding undervalued companies as well. And this book is actually the methods, the principles in this book have even been used by Warren Buffett to create his wealth. So I would say those are the three books that I would recommend to start for a beginner.
There, so that's some golden advice over there. Personally, I've also read The Intelligent Investor, and it's such an incredible book. Like you said,
It
it's kind of a bit of a heavy reading. Also, considering the time it was written compared to today's market is vastly different. But it's as you said, it's like the Bible for each investor that wants to start, getting into the game and actually understanding and comprehending. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's really, really important. And again, regardless of your major, I'm an English major. I do investing, so I think everybody out there can do it too. But again, there's like also this kind of like some people argue that saving is actually better than investing. Others actually say investing is better than saving. I'm the people that believe investing is better than saving, but somebody that's actually from the personal finance club. What is your share on this piece?
So honestly, investing is better than saving. The reason why I say it's better than savings because when you keep your money in a savings account today, it's not keeping up with the inflation rate. Your money is losing value in a savings account. So when you invest your money in let's say in a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, or just even opening up a brokerage account with your bank and buying ETFs or just singling out certain stocks, certain companies and buying them, you're guaranteed you're probably gonna outperform the inflation rate by a good 8, 9, 10%. You're gonna get 10% return on your money versus getting 0.010% return on your cash held in a savings account. It's just that it's not the only time I ever keep my money in a savings account is if I know I'm gonna make a large purchase, let's say for mortgage. Unfortunately, I was actually gonna buy a house this year in Florida, but because of COVID, I couldn't do anything. Banks wouldn't lend me money because I'm furloughed. They take the average of their 2-year salary and they base your loan on that. And then another reason why I would keep my money in a savings account is to keep maybe anywhere from 3, 6, 9 to 12 months worth of expenses in my savings account, depending on what your needs are. Not your salary, but your expenses. Mm-hmm. And that's the only time I ever find a savings account useful. But other than that, 70% of my net worth is in the stock market.
Like there's as the saying goes, let your money work for you.
Yeah, that's 100%. I agree.
So for whoever is listening right now, investing is better definitely than saving. Instead of just laying, as Francisco said, instead of letting your money lie down in your bank account, sleep over there, let it work for you. Even when you're sleeping, your money is still gonna work for you, and you're gonna get more. So please take this advice to heart, and because this is something that's really, really important. And Francesco, actually, also, you said like 70%, is actually invested in the stock market. But a lot of students that I come by, and even this is something that I also struggled, back in the day, is like I was like saying to myself, like, I don't have the money to invest now. Maybe when I get a job, maybe after college, maybe when I just start, climbing my, my career ladder. Like, what would you suggest to people that say that?
So I'll have a couple of suggestions to that. So the first one would be if you do not have money and you're still a college student, and my suggestion is learn as much as you can about investing in the stock market, anything about the stock market, read books, read as much as you can. So when you do graduate and start making that 60, 70, 80, whatever salary you're making at the end after you graduate, you already know the steps to take to be financially literate. Like you already know what to do. And my second suggestion to this is right now is actually a golden opportunity for a lot of people that don't have money, because there's a lot of applications now, a lot of brokerage accounts, for example, like Robinhood, where they give you the option to buy fractional shares of companies. So you can literally invest with as little as $1, and you can buy Apple for $1. Usually a lot of people spend $1 in the grocery store buying candy or buying coffee, but wouldn't you want to buy Starbucks, a fractional share of Starbucks for $5? Hey, you own Starbucks.
That is definitely true. That is definitely true.
So I think there's if you don't have money, those are the key steps. I would say also opening up a savings account. Just even if you don't put not a savings account, a retirement account. Even if you don't put money in it, just have it open. So when you do graduate, you can just put money in there. Just put money in there, especially a Roth IRA, definitely tax benefits on that. But just educate yourself as much as you can, and also look into those brokerage accounts where you can invest and buy fractional shares for $1.
Yeah, I listen. I definitely agree with that. Say, also having a certain amount percent of your salary or whatever you're earning, investing it also in the stock market. That is also something that is suggested, just because if you have that few dollars spare, why not invest them instead of just wasting them on something else?
Yep.
And actually something I also want to like drift a bit, and this is something that you've said a couple of times. You were talking about RFA. Maybe some of the people that are listening to this do not know what an RFA is. So can you just elaborate it a bit more and
I'm
actually?
sorry, RFA.
Yeah.
Can you say, hold on? You said a retirement account or a Roth IRA?
RFA.
A Roth IRA.
Yeah.
Oh, so what you basically is that the reason why there's a lot of tax benefits to it is because you're paying the taxes up front at a lower tax bracket versus a traditional IRA. So, for example, let's say you make $50,000 a year and you invest in your Roth IRA. You already, the money that you put in, you already pay taxes on it. Versus a traditional IRA where you're making $50,000 and you invest, let's say, $5,000 into your traditional IRA, that IRS is going to look at your annual income as $45,000. So by the time you retire, you're probably going to be at a higher tax bracket, and you're going to get taxed at that highest tax bracket. So that's why I recommend a Roth IRA, especially for younger people. So that's the reason why I say open up a Roth IRA. So I have two strategies. It's not financial advice, but this is what I do. So I opened up my Roth IRA about 5-6 years ago, and I've just been investing in exchange traded funds, ETFs, and in 6 different categories, like large cap corporations. I also invest in tech companies, high dividend yield ETFs, small cap companies. And another thing I do is, and then my brokerage account, that's where I keep most of my money in, and just invest in individual stocks and see if I can outperform the stock market. But Roth IRA is definitely something that you should look into.
Just set up for the long term. I love it. I just love hearing that. And actually also something that I also heard, people around me, and actually some of my close friends, were always talking about it, if actually speaking about creating a passive income. Can you explain what is a passive income and why is it so important?
Sure. So passive income is basically money that you make without physically being present to make it, and it literally takes little to no effort to maintain it. And the reason why it is extremely important to have passive income is because it gives you the financial flexibility to do a lot of things in your life, and also takes a lot of financial pressure off of you when in hard times. And then another reason passive income is extremely important, if it is utilized correctly and you reinvest the passive income that you're making back into those income streams, you can retire very early. You can literally buy buy a financial freedom. You can buy your salary, basically. So, for example, I remember when I first started, I used to have a few shares of one of my companies, AT&T. I remember I had I bought 5 shares. Now I have hundreds, and I get close to like four something every 3 months, and I just keep reinvesting it. That's just off of one company, and I just keep reinvesting and reinvesting. And eventually, I want to get it to a point where I never have to pay for a phone bill ever again. I never want to pay for another upgrade on my phones. I never want to pay for any insurance on my phone. AT&T, all the dividends that I've gotten from them, pays for that. And I want to buy companies that just drip me in that income.
I love it. I love it.
especially my brokerage account, I have it in a program called a DRIP program, which is a dividend reinvestment program. So basically, all the money that you're getting gets reinvested back into those companies. So you're getting more and more and more of those companies. So basically, you're getting wealth. I mean, you're building your wealth while you're sleeping. And
That's
I
good.
have three. I have three sources of passive income. A high yield savings interest account for my savings, and I have a REIT income stream, which is a real estate investment trust, and I also have my dividends from my stocks.
That is just in my eyes, that's just beautiful having all of those. And something that I also want to talk about, like, do you have any creative ideas on how to create passive income for the audience, and not just through investing?
So those that like I said, so out of all the books that I've read about millionaires and 100,000aires, these people keep their stuff very simple, their investments very simple, nothing complicated. And honestly, you can buy, like I said, REIT stocks. You can and real estate interest. Real estate investment trusts. You can buy high yield dividend paying stocks like AT&T or Coca-Cola, and you can also put your money in a high yield savings account if you have like a cushion saved on the side, or you're making going to make a large purchase in the future for a mortgage or a car or whatever. So you get those three simple income streams. And the next one I want to create is actual real estate, buying a duplex or a triplex or one of those, and that's going to be my fourth income stream in the future.
I love it. I really, really love it. And now this is something I want to ask also you, Francesco, and also Caroline. This is like the personal round questions, just something to get, just for everybody to get to know our student leaders better. So this is something you only need to answer with, a few words, maybe a sentence or two. So first question is like, what is your favorite finance book that you have read?
So for me, I actually do want to include a website that I actually like to look at a lot. So that's the Motley Fool. I think they give pretty solid advice.
That's a great website actually. I even have their app. Like, it's really good.
What about you, Francesco? What's your favorite book?
So my favorite book actually on finance and the importance of, he also talks about the importance of finance is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He goes into details about having this state of mind of abundance, and he comes up with ways of coming up with keeping your finances in check, and he has these four quadrants, and he describes where people are and how you can navigate the key steps to get into these four different types of quadrants, like being a business owner, being a passive investor, being an aggressive investor, or just being a 9-to-5 employee for the rest of your life. You choose which one you want to be,
Yeah, I love that. I love that too. If in the next 5 years, what do you hope to accomplish? What do you hope to accomplish, Caroline?
Well, I hope to be manager at an accounting firm.
That's incredible. That's incredible. What about you, Francesco?
Same here. I wanna work for a mid-size to a large-size accounting firm and have my CPA license within that time frame, and also have a master's degree, hopefully in accounting.
Okay. If you had to summarize this year in 3 words, what would it be?
I would say unknown, a lot of fear and anxiety.
And what about you, Caroline?
I would also say the same as Francisco, except I would add in like transformation, because I do think that this year is gonna change a lot of a lot of aspects of life for the next few years. and not necessarily in a bad thing. I think like we're also going to learn how to be more present in the now, because we don't know what's going to happen a few months from now.
Yeah, that is also true. That is also true. So, Carolyn, what's the biggest lesson you've learned so far in 2020 and you would like to share with fellow students?
That plans don't always go the way you think they're going to go, and you have to be able, like, you have to be very adaptable. Like, you can't just think, oh, in a few months, I'm going to be doing this, because in a few months we just don't know what's going to happen. Like, your whole life could turn like upside down, like what happened for many people with COVID-19. So I think like you just need to learn how to be adaptable and accepting of changes that might come up.
I
agree. What about you, Francesco?
One of the lessons learned is definitely not taking things for granted. Seriously, this year it's been eye opening for me. So many simple things that we used to do, so many social habits that we used to have, it's just been taken away from us, and I really miss that interaction with people and being in certain social settings.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, I'm truly grateful for both you, Francesco, and Caroline, for this opportunity to hear so much good advice, golden advice actually in my eyes, and it was so important, especially in the time in COVID where people need to know how to budget, if it's speaking about credit cards, if it's about investing, and last but not least, for the audience over here that's listening, if anybody has any questions regarding terms that you didn't understand that was spoken in this episode, please feel free to comment below. Definitely all your questions. I think that, and I believe that Caroline and Francesco will be more than happy and more than glad to help you to help answer you those questions. And also, check out this amazing club. It has so much value in it. I really think you're going to enjoy it. So once again, thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Francesco. I genuinely appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
You.
Thank you.